Hello everyone, welcome to the wood shop. Before we do any work, we need to make sure that we are safe. Always wear safety glasses, hearing protection if necessary, remove jewelry, tie back long hair, tuck in loose clothing, and always wear closed-toed shoes. At the thickness sander, just like the planer, the thickness sander removes material to thickness a piece of wood. At this point, we would like to have a reference face and reference edge. Preferably, our piece of wood has been through the table saw to make it parallel to our reference edge and its final width. And maybe we just wanted to use the thickness sander to take care of some of the preliminary rough sanding for us. So the thickness sander can't take off the amount of material that the thickness planer can because it uses sandpaper on a drum instead of knives, and the sandpaper is limited in how much material it can remove at one time. You're likely to create burns and grooves in the sandpaper if you try and remove too much material, or if you use gummy woods that tend to have sticky type sawdust, which usually Purple Heart and Padauk and exotic woods like this that are quite oily. The sandpaper can't, it gets clogged up and then it gets these burn lines in it. So we want to avoid those. I know there's a few burns in this area and the paper needs to be changed, so I'll do that at some point, but I'm just going to avoid that area for the time being. In here there are in-feed rollers and out-feed rollers, just like on the planer, so our piece of wood needs to be able to catch both of those. Minimum length for this machine is 8 inches to be able to catch both feed rollers. Anything shorter than that is not allowed to go through this machine. So just like the planer, we set this up so our piece of wood just barely touches the feed rollers, and then we can turn the machine on. There are 2 switches. One controls the drum on the inside, and it spins in this direction. So if you're looking at it from the right-hand side of the machine, it spins clockwise. And so our piece of wood is going to travel in the opposite direction, as with every machine in the shop. So this switch here controls this auto feed table, which will control your piece of wood to go through and sand the surface. Aha. So I unplugged it while I was showing you the drum. So we're going to plug it back in, make sure it's off. We wouldn't want to open this up while it's plugged in. So the drum is on, the table is on, and we're going to run this through. You want to keep your fingers away from this point because that's a pinch point. And then we're just going to raise this up, raise the table up just until we hear it. And then we know we're just taking a little tiny bit of material off. So really, it's only sanded a little bit here and a little bit here. So now we need to make very small adjustments to this machine, like that much, turning it about 10 degrees. 10 degrees of the wheel is about the maximum amount we can do. And there it is. The rough sanding is done for me. I would still need to sand this surface by hand. At this point, you could flip it over and do your preliminary rough sanding on the other side, but just be aware you'll be sanding off your reference face marks. So maybe you'd want to put that back on there, and then you could sand that off by hand again later. Keep in mind that this is quite a dusty process, and you would need the dust extraction system to be on while you're running this machine, just like all of the machines that are hooked up to the dust collector. I don't have it on right now because I want for you to be able to hear me. The dust collector is quite loud, and making this video would be a little more difficult with it on. So I left it off just for making the video.